All right, so this is a guide to the math map, specifically for Foundations Essentials 8 kiddies, as well as trying to show how the math map thinks, so that people can make informed decisions with regards to math curriculum for the primary school years. Okay, so this video assumes that you have watched the videos on how to download all the stuff from the companion and know how to access the Math Map companion on CC Connected. I'm just going to talk about using the physical product. Okay, I have downloaded digits and fractions so that we can compare it, and also so that you can see what it would look like in a one-room schoolhouse setup, which you probably have. One-room schoolhouse meaning you have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old, and how can you integrate math to do it together, so that you don't have to have separate curriculums for everybody or separate books, and everybody's working on separate math subject concepts, and mommy's trying to keep track of all of the math concepts. Okay, so for me, I took each week and I put them in a little page protector, and then I have my page. Then I have my page protectors all in a ring binder file. So I have them like categorized per week, and then I just take out the relevant pages for my son for that week. So let's start here with division. Take it out. The first page is your exordium. So this page is called the exordium. Every domain, meaning every grade, so domains are the names for the grades, every domain has exactly the same front cover page, so that everybody can have a look and all contribute to the conversation. Also, every domain, so every grade, will be covering the same mathematical concept in the same week. So as you can see here, there it says week 6, and this domain is digits, all right? But for fractions, it'll also say 6, and the whole page will look exactly the same, except for this little part, it'll be a different color, and it will say fractions. Okay, so we all have a look and we see, okay, this is a picture by Michelangelo, and it's called Separation of Light from Darkness. And then we can talk about it. What do you see? What do you not see? All right, we see God, and he is separating light from the darkness. And the artist imagined what it would look like if he did it with his hands. And then you can think, what does God look like to you? Do you think this is what he looks like? If you had to paint him, what would he look like? Do you think we can paint God? You can have a whole discussion. Then there is a quote here by different people. This one is from J.R.R. Tolkien. You can read the quote. Often what I do is I read the quote and then I paraphrase it for my children, because it's a little complex. And then here is a either another prayer or a thought. This one seems to be a prayer. Sometimes it's even a quote from the Bible. Okay, this is all to just whet your appetite and get you thinking more integrated about math, because the math map believes that math is used to see the unseen, and that math is integral to our world, and God built our world that way. Therefore, if we discover math, we discover more about God and the way he created this world, and we can glorify him through it. All right, so then turn the page. Your next page is this beautiful contribution to the conversation. This is one person's thoughts about the exordium, so this front page. And it's worth a read as a teacher. It really helps us keep the bigger picture in mind. And with your older students, you can maybe mention a few things. Like some weeks I highlighted a thing or two that I wanted to mention. But yeah, so this is not an explanation of the concept, like division is this and this and this and this. Okay, this is not what this is. This is expanding our thoughts about the mathematical concept of division and how it fits into our world. Okay. Beautiful to read, really inspiring. Also, really has helped me think more integrated. All right, so this is the first page of the digits. So you see here at the top corner, it says digits, and then there's a little tick box for flashcards. Now, CC assumes that you have their flashcards. So the one we are currently focusing on is this one, the multiplication one, or the commutative law. They look like this. So it has the answers on the top corner of the opposite side. So 1 times 13, the answer would be over here, 13. So 9 times 13, answer is 117, which is over here. So you can play games with it. You can just use it as flashcards. The idea is to spend 5 minutes just working on the language of math, as well as mental acuteness with mathematical things. So again, I would take out the ones that we are working on in that week in CC. And so for week 1, I take out all the 1s and the 2s, and then we just use those. Week 2, I take out, things like that. So, and then in the other weeks, I use, I either review the ones that I know are still in need of a bit of polishing, or I use the other flashcards. So there's a set of for addition, and there's a set for fractions, and there's a set for what is it called? Notation. And I think notation is probably the most important. If you buy no other set right now, buy the notation set, because you will not find any other set like that. And these children are introduced to mathematical notation, so the ABCs of math, from day 1. Look at this. From day 1 in grade 1. Day 1, grade 1, this is what they see. And it is useful to have that, the flashcards happening for the notation specifically, just so that all these strange things make a little bit more sense, because the notation has the definition. So this will say, oh, it's a natural number. Natural number greater than 4 divided by 2. Okay. Now, what I want to mention, and we'll have a look at how, say, the grade 1 work and the grade 4 work compare, and how are they different. What I want to mention is that CC does not shy away, or the math map does not shy away from what to us in our traditional way of thinking about math might seem intimidating. To a grade 1, they don't know that it should be intimidating, so they just go along with it. Like, here's an imaginary number. That's a domain. So if don't, as a parent, get frightened by this simply because you don't know it. Remember, you are a lead learner. So you're going to learn right along with them. And that has to be your approach. Okay, so here we are working with words, symbols, and images. This is the domain. So that one is the domain. This is the function, and that is the range. Again, domain, function, range. And here, all the little grade 1 has to do is copy. We are just trying to teach them the ABCs. Remember when they started reading all these weird scribbles on a page? Seemed strange to them too. They couldn't differentiate an A from an M. But as they got better and better at reading, these letters started making sense, and they started seeing the phonics and how to pronounce them and how the silent E makes it say its name and all those beautiful things. It's the same with us. We are teaching them the grammar, and they will learn how to do it themselves as we carry on. All right, so this is page 1 of week 6. Page 1, week 6. And there's always 16 work pages. So they assume that you have 1 day for community and 4 other days of working. So you'll see when you get to the, where are they? Here we go. These are the answer sheets. They have formatted them 4 on a page so that you can mark a whole day's work without paging and paging, because you will do 4 pages per day, which is not a lot, especially if most of it is tracing. Look at this. This is tracing. This is trace, and then circle the 2 equal groups. And they show you how to do it. Okay, so this is grade 1, week 6, day 1 of the first page. Then they will be doing this, second page, and third page, and the last page. Again, look at this. They're busy with algebraic expressions already, but all they have to do is trace what they know. What do they know? They know ABC. So that's what we're expecting them to trace. And you will find out, or you will notice, that all the numbers used are numbers less than 10. Unless it's something like this where we're working with percentages, or it's not inside an expression. So they don't put big numbers inside expressions. We want to show them stuff they can comprehend. So like this, if we're working with division, we take 8 divided by 2 equals 4. Okay, this is complex division. 8 divided by 2 equals 2. And look, they're asking them to color it in because we're showing them this is what it looks like. If you take 8 and you divide it by 2, you divide it by 2 this way, and then you divide it again. So how many in each block? 2. All right, so we're trying to show them in ways that they understand. There's even little chocolate blocks. Okay, and then last page for that day. All right, so let's have a look at fractions. So this is grade 4. So they have the same front cover page, and I didn't even print the contribution to the conversation. All right, so this is what the day 1 looks like. All right, so again, there's a lot of copying. So copy the symbol for division and match. So this is the obelisk, that one is obelisk. This is long division, that's a fraction, that's a ratio, that's a percent. So now I take obelisk, long division, fraction, ratio, and a percent. All right, they're tracing here the hops on the number line. Oh, and of course, you start off with your flashcards at the start of the day. So 5 minutes of flashcards, whichever flashcards you feel your family needs to work on right now. They are not specific. Now, another thing that in the very, very first week called Ex Nihilo, we are told to start a math journal. So we just got one of these little spiral bound A4s, seeing the unseen. You can make it bigger or smaller. There isn't really anything except that your kid needs to be able to write in there or draw and stuff. So this is where they get to notebook where they see math in real life. All right. So, for example, if we had pizza last night and I asked my son to divide the pieces equally, then I can say, hey, buddy, draw a picture of pizza in there, because then he saw how to divide. You know, he had to divide it properly. All right. What he drew here was we were telling a joke about feathers. Which one is heavier, feathers or lead? You know, a ton of feathers or a ton of lead. And he was like, oh, that's like comparison. So it was the week we were working on comparison. And then he drew it here for us. So you can see the scale and then the lead and the feather pillow. So things like that. They get to start. We want to start creating a curiosity for them about finding math everywhere. And what you can do is you can just, after your flashcards, before you jump into the lesson, you can say, all right, is there anything you want to add to your Seeing the Unseen booklet, or math notebook, or whatever you want to call it? And then they can decide yes or no. Oh yeah, yesterday I saw this thing, or yesterday I did that. So we're also teaching them to observe their world and take note of it. All right, so let's just, I want to show you the first pages of these again. Day one. Of the grade 1 work, and day 1 of the... Now, also a big question for a lot of people is that, oh, but the domain for my child's age is not there yet. You know what? You can, I think your child will learn a mountain load of math, even just doing the lower grades. Like my son is actually mathematically kind of grade 3, but we just started off with a grade 1 work. And it was so good. He learned so much because this is a completely different way of thinking. And even just getting exposed to the, so this, have a look. Day 1, page 1, I think. It might not be in order anymore because we worked with these. But yeah, so this is the grade 1 work. They're doing very simple, very basic. Just some numbers they have to copy, they have to answer. Look, they can count the blocks. You can help them if they need to. The other important thing that I want to mention is that we are given the answer sheet for a reason. So as your child gets older, they will probably have to use the answer sheet a lot more and work backwards with the math problems. So say on day 1, they get really stuck. They have no idea how a certain thing works. Go to the answer sheet, have a look. Oh, I see. That's what the answer is supposed to be. And then write in the answer. By day 2, each, let's call it 4-page cycle of this booklet works on the same skills on the same day. So if on day 1, page 1, they work on, let's take the multiplication, okay? Tomorrow, day 1, page 1, there will also be multiplication question. It will look differently. So it will have different numbers and what, but they'll be working on the same skill. So as they work through the days, tomorrow they'll be revisiting the same skill they got stuck with yesterday, and hopefully now they understand it a bit better, so then they can do it. And if on day 2 they're still a bit stuck with some of the answers, give them the answer sheet so that they can refer to the answer sheet, and then move into the 3rd day where they'll probably be able to do it by themselves. So use these tools of the answer sheet as a tool, not as a crutch, as a tool, because it can be very powerful. They learn by making the mistakes, going back and saying, oh, okay, I know how to do it now. And tomorrow when they're asked to do the same thing, they know how to do it. Okay. Then lastly, I just want to point out that ex nihilo, week very number 1, here. This one is so helpful for you as a teacher. This thing explains so much. So besides the companion, read ex nihilo before you start with this. Ex nihilo explains, I'll show you, there's a lot of reading. So besides those 2 pages of exordium, here it gives you a lesson overview. So the booklet cover, art, quotation, reflection. It tells you what to do with the cover, okay? Here, ex nihilo, think about nothing. The middle section of the booklet provides opportunities to think about nothing, okay? Study the top of chart. Now, this is another note. We don't get these charts in our downloads, but they are in the same week in the complex domain. But the complex domain is only online. So simply view the charts online. It works very nicely on a laptop or an iPad. Phones are a little bit fiddly, but you can make do. All right. So the chart will tell you what week it's in. So chart week 1, the first chart. Okay. And then there'll be chart week 1, chart number 2, week 1, chart number 3. All right. So another thing I want to show you is that for your primary school kids, if you have the Scribbler's book, there are many of the charts in the Scribbler's book. They're not exactly the same as the charts in the complex book, but have a look at this one. There you have a lot of comparison. So you can have a look at this, study this chart, talk about it when you come to the week called comparison. There's a multiplication chart. This one is so valuable. This one I think is almost exactly the same as the one that's in the math map complex. So have a look. What is it saying? What do you see? What is something unfamiliar? What is something familiar? So what do you know and what is unfamiliar? 10 unit cubes equals 1 tens rod. Oh, I know that. Okay, and here's a fractions chart. Look at it when it comes to the week of division. Have a look. Study. Just like in Essentials, we use these charts to learn and to help us put the information in places that make sense, to see where it goes. Here's a unit circle, all right, or an XY chart. When by the time you get to this, here's something for you to look at. Or polygons with degrees, polyhedrons when you get to multiple dimensions. Here's something for you to look at. So I would say this is like Scribblers. if you're in Foundations and Essentials and you don't get your charts with the math map, Scribblers is an absolutely invaluable tool. It has